MedBix Webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges on our live programming. Hey, welcome to the MedBix Webcast. Just 1 minute, Ursula. MedBix Webcast. This is Ramana Annamraju and host of the MedBix Webcast. Today we are going to have a little bit of a deviation from the real science. Some of the speculative theories on the metaphysics area. Some of them are real. Some of them are proposed speculative theories, but they're proposed by scientists, doctors, all of them. So we are going to discuss a little bit about all those things, So I'm going to introduce you my best friend and Ursula Lentine. She's a pranic healer. When I was a kid, my village, my mother used to do this pranic healing to me. I thought it's silly, but no, more I grow older and I realized, maybe there is some truth to it. Things that, for example, I'm going to talk about brain as a hologram today. One of the things I learned when I was a kid is there is a Bhagavad Gita in the Lord Krishna there. In the Lord Krishna shows something that Maya, there is a projection in the movie. It is a movie by a very popular actor in India, NTR. So in the movie, they show in Krishna's transcendental pose, multi-dimensional form, and then he shows the Maya just a holographic picture of the past and present. That stuck with me in my long time in my mind. When I learned physics and more I followed a lot of physics, then holographic principle became a central theme of a lot of physics nowadays. Holographic principle is the black holes and brains and the quantum computers. They're all kind of interrelated with holography. But anyway, let me bring Ursula Lentine is a pranic healer. She's been a reverend. She can give her qualifications. Welcome, Ursula. Welcome to the MedBix Webcast.
Thank you. It's nice to see you again.
After a long time. So tell me about your background a little bit, and then you can go from there.
I have a doctorate in consciousness studies, and that's where spiritual and quantum realities intertwine. I come from a spiritual background. My training is in metaphysics. I do subconscious healing called internal family systems, and I'm a systems thinker. So even though I live in the spiritual realms, I am very scientific in my approach. Everything's common sense and grounded. And when I approach the undescribable from that logistical point of view, then I can discover more truths and really understand them. And the best of all, use them.
So when you say undescribable, it is a language problem, or just it is a something spiritual that is not a what is the undescribable? Is it possible in through the language itself?
I think when indescribable would be beyond the references of the 3D world, and then individually beyond the five senses. We have been raised that our body is centric identity instead of our personality, our energy field, our emotional body, so on and so forth, right? So if they say, oh, this is you, this is all you are, this your body is, you're the daughter of, you're the son of, you're the in born into the culture of, and so on and so forth, that gives us a reference of identity outside of what's going on inside.
That's an excellent. So that you are describing consciousness in general, overall consciousness, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the why we need a humans need a spirituality. What is the reason you think?
Well, I'm going to be very playful here and say,
Yeah.
why does spirituality need the human form?
Yeah, very interesting. So why spirituality need a human form?
One theory, right? Because it's individual, just like you said of Maya and the hologram and everything, illusion. So if you really, really think about it, we all live in our own reality, and that reality comes from our references, comes from our historic background, right? Our cultures, our belief systems, the events that we've experienced, how people have treated us. Right now, we're going through a big awareness of um, marginalized communities, right? People who have never had a voice or a face or a paycheck that equals the white face around the world. So now a lot of minorities are finally being recognized. So if I was born, black and poor, I wouldn't be recognized for who I am because I would have a bias against me. So when we look at all the different biases and our belief systems, everybody really is living in their own reality. So you can go to any church, any mosque, any temple and say, what does your religion teach you? And they can say this one, this one, this one, this one. And then I can say, what do you actually believe? And you're going to get five different answers. So when we all live in our own reality, communication is like an issue. And then getting along with others and actually listening to people from their point of view rather than our point of view is a big hurdle when we're trying to connect and understand one another.
Let us talk about biases. I tell you, they exist everywhere in the world. There are a lot of. I mean, Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is full of Indians. They had a lot of major technology firms are run by Indians. My brother passed away last year. Unfortunately, he's a great guy. And then he went to Romania to do the nuclear reactors for the Canadian company. He was living in Canada. There were gypsies they call Romas. They are from India. Long time ago, they came from India, hundreds of years ago, maybe 2,000 years ago. They came to from India to these Europe, Eastern Europe, Romania and Czechoslovakia and all those countries. They call them gypsies. My brother is already accomplished engineer. He's a design engineer for nuclear reactors. He went to a store and they thought that he's going to steal, he's going to follow, he's going to do all these things. They followed him. you know Most of the people who followed him were a lot poorer, but that is a bias is all over. Some kind of a bias comes in. It is a place in India. Caste system is a bias. We have a whenever I go United States or any Canada or India, we have one system. I see that the biases against other people they use exactly the same words. Every country, there is no difference. That's a strange thing about discrimination. Is they use exactly the same thing. Oh, they are poor, they are druggy, they drink alcohol, they smell. All these nonsenses, they're all just copied in, and you can paste it anywhere. This is the human bias that we are stuck with. How do we get out of it, this kind of a bias, and look into the different way? Science is one of them. Metaphysics may be better, they're better in that direction. Could you please explain that? How the
Beautiful
metaphysics?
question. Yeah, yeah. Ramona, I could always talk to you, right? We always
Yeah.
have amazing conversations. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So there is biases. So we have to ask first, where did this bias come from? Because when you have children playing with each other and they have not been trained, oh, that boy has a different skin color than you, don't talk to him, or he's going to steal your clothes, or, whatever nonsense. Children don't understand bias. They just see another child having the same experience. They live in a place of awe and wonder. But it is an adult who comes in and says, oh, no, 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 and there's judgment, right? So that's one thing, is to understand that bias has been taught. The other animal instinct of us that bias begins from, besides the taught part, is what I call me, not me. So if we're an animal, because we are also animals, we can wear a tie and wear high heels and think that we're better than everybody else, but we're an mammal. So we have our amygdala, we have our brain that is wired for survival. So
Yeah.
when everything else is gone, we have survival instincts still running the show. So if I see something that doesn't look like me, my red flags go up and say this could be an enemy. So then I will protect, I will judge, I will push away, I will make small to protect and preserve me and what looks like me. So if you look at the white race and all the other cultures that actually outnumber the white race, you can see why the white race has power, greed, because they feel like, oh, I'm a minority, I'm weaker, I'm not as strong, I don't have a strong community, I better power over everybody, out of fear, right? Out of reptilian brain fear. So that's two ways to understand, where do biases come from. Somebody looks different, so our instinct goes, the hairs go up on our back, and we have been taught this is a different person, less than the white arrogant race, the European Germanic countries, they think they're very pious and superior, but that really just comes from fear. How we can overcome biases is exactly this: start talking about it,
Yeah.
identifying it, and it's infuriating, right? It's infuriating because it has been disgusting, the behavior that happens throughout history, time and time again. So
Let us.
we also have to have compassion.
Yeah. Let us talk about physical biases, that how you look like, and I connect with those people that I look like me. But there is a lot of poor whites there in West Virginia, been there. There's a lot
Yeah,
of places. So they feel the discrimination, but still they're not. We are all humans are catching up with this, caught up and then in the binded by this barrier of how the people look like they're going to do good for me. But
yeah.
corporations now they're proving there is no, they don't care, they care about green. That is a bigger problem now. People have to realize that is the power and money is controlling them, rather than using that colors against each other. It is a much more bigger now. The bigger enemy that we have is the corporate structures, huge, humongous corporate structures. So how do we spiritually get out of that kind of a bias situation? Physical looks first, then we need to say good and evil, good and bad people. That's all we need in the world. So how do we do that? Can you can
Yeah,
you see
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. So first is to recognize, right? Well, we have a power structure of top down, and pandemic that we've experienced, the corporate world has been very shook, right? Because you think, oh, these are the ones controlling the whole wide world. And then the people left the offices and they're now living at home and working from home. And everyone's like, okay, come on back in. And they're like, no, I think I want to be here with my family. I blame the corporate world for destroying the family structure, right? Because the
Yes.
corporate world says, hey, you have to come work for me and you have to climb the ladder and you have to travel for work and you have to spend extra hours in order to go up the thing. No, you're separating the man from his family. So when you have a man traveling a lot and he is away from his wife, one of them is going to get bored and distracted and affairs are going to start, and then the whole family systems crumble. We have 2 generations of children of divorced families, and they don't have stability because there was a lot of aggression in the household and disappointment and loss and everything like that. You ask a divorced man to fight for something, he's got nothing to fight for. You ask a married man to fight for something, he has his family to fight for. So now you've kind of broken the spirit of the corporate man who has his focus on climbing the ladder and getting all the money, and then he comes home to an empty household with kids who he doesn't even connect with. So like, why, right? So now you have an emptiness going on, and every step of this ladder of the corporate world. I've been working with more and more corporate people because they've been seeking these same things that you and I are talking about. What's happening is, how do you ask, how do we spiritually address this? It's happening by itself, because as you know, in science, in biology, and in nature, there's always a cycle. Something is always changing and always going on. In astrology, or those traditions, we are now moving into the age of Aquarius, and that translates as the divine feminine. So you are seeing more world leaders who are women now. You are seeing more workforce who are women. You are seeing more people who are voicing themselves now, and it's the woman's voice that is being heard. Look, right here today, you have a woman you have a woman guest on asking these important questions. So I'm giving you a woman's point of view, and it's not that all women are going to rule the world. It's that the man, the aggressive, dominant, power over, you listen to me way of being is falling apart. That patriarch system is falling apart because people don't want to hear it anymore. It's not really working anymore. People are realizing, oh, just that top C suite is benefiting. No one else is really benefiting here. Like, wouldn't it be different if we could do something better for everybody? So that structure we're watching now, slowly, painfully slowly, is falling apart. So instead of this, pyramid structure, we're moving into a circle structure where everybody has responsibilities and there's more leadership across the team rather than one dictator.
It is not just individual problem, it is a systemic problem. We existed there. Unfortunate it is, but they're transferring this kind of a materialism, greed, power to other countries now. There were days that families and structures, in India there used to be joint families, grandfather, father, and everybody used to live. That's their insurance plan they have. Now
Yeah.
they said that insurance companies came in and they said that don't trust your children, don't trust your fathers, don't trust anybody. We trust us. That's what they said. So
Yes.
that's why they can sell insurance to them. It is became a big enterprise of exploiting family weaknesses and family structures. People like you are helping. That's, I think we need a people. I think we need a fundamental shift in thinking. Every human being has to think different now. Is that there is a systemic problem they need to recognize? How do we solve this kind of a systemic problem through spirituality that you preach?
Great question. We have to move from I to we. Thousands of years, we have been living in tribe, in community, in family. thousands and thousands of, you couldn't leave the group and say, oh, I'm just going to go for a walk and I'll be back in 3 years. You would turn into lunch meat quickly. We were nomadic. So we needed each other, and we were able to be interactive and interdependent. Okay, you bake the bread, you do this, you do that, you watch the kids, you're the great hunter, you train the boys. So we all worked as a community, and we were relying upon each other. So when somebody gets greedy, they say, oh, I want me, 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 me. And then they were able to figure out like how to make other people work for them only, so they rose to the top and everybody else stayed here. And then they started saying, look, you can be greedy too. And that's where you're saying, like, the insurance company, you turn everybody against each other. Now if I'm one of my things that I'm realizing now, darkness itself, right? Because greed comes from a dark place within somebody's heart. So darkness itself, there's two rules. Eventually self-destructs, but it's a long, slow, process. And the one trick pony, the one tool that they have that they don't have to even think about anything else because it works so beautifully, divide and conquer. So when we're pitting against each other, man against woman, husband against wife, father against son, all of these fights that are happening, then they don't have an enemy.
This is a kind of a manifesting into a mental health problem,
Totally.
humongous mental health crisis. So they don't know how to. The country is a national epidemic. They're not addressing at the national level. We need to address it at a top level. This is a serious problem. It manifests into the domestic violence, racial violence, and gun violence. You name it, every violence you can imagine, it manifests into those violences.
And
How can we?
who's suffering the most? Children.
Yes.
When in history have children harmed? The school shootings, they're happening twice a week. It's ridiculous. When in any of history have children killed children?
It is just unbelievable. So, what do you suggest to people who want to liberate and then see the world? What the tools they need for that kind of a people think
It's to go,
different?
yeah, first of all, nature, because nature has always been here for us. When the human being puts themselves in nature, within 20 minutes, their heart rate's going to change, their ability to focus on different things is going to change, the stress level, the cortisol levels is going to change. So it's to take the devices, all the cell phones and the distractions, because the amount of information the brain has to process with all of that intake is not healthy for us. So if we can say, okay, leaving the cell phone, shutting it off, whatever, and going with people that we trust and like, and just spending time in nature, that is a easy, inexpensive, quick return on investment way to start moving in the right direction.
Talking nature, I'm going to present something that you can comment any minute. It's a very draft I put together. I'm going, you both of us watching together, and you can comment anytime. Okay. So both we are watching together. So this I'm going to talk about a little bit. Brandon didn't show up, as usual sometimes. There is a guy in 1980. I've read a book. It is called Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot. He's not a scientist. He's not a doctor. He wrote a book. It's called Michael Talbot Holographic Universe. Very intriguing, very thoughtful book. He's a gay man. He moved to San Francisco, and eventually in 1980s he died. But at a very young age he died. At the age of 35 or 38 he died. But but Michael Talbot books are really good. He was inside into his mind. It's very interesting. He came up with a very powerful intuitions. He thought that brain is a hologram, you know. So he gave a very good example of the hologram is if we have a hologram like the rose that we have, if you cut the hologram into two pieces, it never becomes a two half and a half. It becomes two small pieces, complete pieces. If you cut in a hologram into pieces, that's like a driver's license is a hologram, but it's a physical, but similar structure. If you cut that rose into a half, it doesn't become two halves. It becomes two small full roses. If you cut further down, it becomes smaller, 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 all the way. You can go to the atomic level. You can say so. The whole contains the parts. That's it. It's as counterintuitive it may be. It is the holographic principle says that part can contain also the whole. That is the fundamental principles of the holography. What they do in hologram is you take that's a Whitney Houston. I used to meet her in Atlanta. Her husband and Bobby Brown in Rich Carlton sometimes when I used to go there, and I met her several times when she was really at the end of the stage, last years of her life. But anyway, that they created a hologram of her. I think she's the one. I think she's Whitney Houston. So what they do is hologram. How they create is they take a two dimensional photo and then put the laser beams on it and reconstruct the 3D image from the two-dimensional. So lower dimension to higher dimensions they create from the hologram. Basically, information storage. The information storage is the key in holography. No image. They don't store the image. They store the patterns. They store the wave pattern. That's very interesting. In holography, they don't store when you take a picture. They don't store the image. They store the wave pattern itself. Then they reconstruct the image. It's very complex system you got to put together for the hologram. But hologram shines light on 2D any part. So the special thing about shining light on any 2D of a hologram, any part of the hologram of 2D, then it creates a 3D entire picture. You don't have to shine on the light on the entire Whitney Houston. You put any part of her, you shine light on it. That's a hologram creates the entire image. That's as strange as it sounds. It is as strange as that hologram. That's holography principle. Every part contains the whole. That
Yeah.
is the that is the fundamental principle of the holography. So Michael Talbot suggested in the 1980s, brain may be hologram. So there is a Carl Pribram, he's a neurosurgeon from Stanford. He is one of the people who found this philosophy very intriguing. It says that yes, brain works like a hologram. So what he says that if one of the things he says that if when there is a trauma, if the half of the brain is taken out, if you know A, B, C, D all the way to Z, when you take in the part of the brain, they still remember A to Z. They don't remember just A to P or A to M. The reason is every cell neuron, what his argument is, every neuron as contains the entire information of the entire memory. So every neuron, every cell has all the information of the brain. That's what his proposal was. So that's why he says that brain works like hologram. That is one of his. Carl Pribram is one of the neurosurgeons from Stanford suggesting. Then David Bohm is a quantum physicist. He suggested thought itself. We are all maligned by our thought is itself is an actionable. A thought itself, we are all one and the same. Thought created a impurity and made us. We're all separate from each other. That's what one of his mathematical structure he gave it to us, implicate and explicate order. That's what his theory was. But it's very interesting theory. So how does the quantum computer is connected with it? That's why a lot of people. I'm doing still draft. So bear with me. This is not a final thing yet. So you need to be a little bit of a patient with me. So what is the connection between the quantum computers and the brain and the holography and the what else is that I said that in the beginning, quantum computers, holography, brain, and then black holes. They're all connected. Strange as it seems, they're all connected. I tell you why. This is because I am still putting this thought process and everything together. In the Stephen Hawking got problem with the information paradox. That let me bring. Actually, we don't need this when we were talking with me and I can talk with her. So in Stephen Hawking, is a quantum physicist. He died. What he did was, in the black hole, if you what he does is, if you throw me in the black hole, what he said was, there is no, I will be going into the black hole inside and then passing event horizon where there is no return come back. That means no information will come out from that event horizon. But as I am passing through the black hole, there is no, I don't feel anything. It's just normal to me. So, but according to the physics, there is a firewall there that burns me into the ashes. So there is the complementarity principle. So I live and I die same time. Very strange. Both the dead and alive. It's a black hole complementarity principle. It's suggested by Leonard Susskind from Stanford. I met him, and other people suggested. So, in the Stephen Hawking, one area is Stephen Hawking said that the information, once it is gone inside, is lost completely. But what the information, what they're saying is complementarity principle. No, it is not lost. It is actually, it is on the surface of the black hole. We are all in the entire universe is actually is the hologram itself, black hole itself. So all of us actors projecting from the three-dimensional to the higher dimensional, four-dimensional system to higher dimensions to lower dimensions. So that's why we feel three-dimensional. We're actors on the surface of the is a God's pleasure. Some people say the God is
Right,
watching a
right. Because
movie.
you want to ask why, right? And they're like, oh, just to please God. So it's very interesting because we opened the show talking about bias, right? And where did bias come from? It came from the collective consciousness of what you're talking about. So this hologram of humanity is in all of us. So you can ask the worst criminal in the prison something about himself, and is there light in there, is there beauty in there, is there something inside of you that is so magical and pure and beautiful? He'll say yes, but I can't get it to him. And you can ask the priest and the guy who's giving all of the beautiful lectures and saving people's, and oh gosh, and do you have any darkness in there? Is there a oh yeah, I know about that, and I just keep it far away. So we all have the potential for all of this, just like the hologram.
Yeah.
So when we are free from the trappings, right, of our five senses, because you asked me what's the non, unknown, right? So if we can understand that this is just a image, this is the outfit that I'm wearing for this lifetime, that my soul remembers all of the stuff wrapped in my DNA, right? Because I'm carrying my DNA from my legacy. Traumas that have happened centuries ago that no one has the story, I'm acting those out. So when I'm judging and things like that, where did that come from? Why am I being like that? Here, because we are now the most recent version of humanity. We have all the same problems that we've had thousands of years ago. They're just exaggerated and contorted in different ways.
Yeah. So I am just talking about so right now holography is interesting. You made the points. You're connecting all these dots. But the hologram is the principle of hologram is all the information is coded on the surface. Any part you take it has all the information of the.
Yep.
So black hole, the information is not lost. That is according to quantum physics. The information cannot be lost.
Hey, we don't know that. We don't know who's been in the black hole to say, hey, everything's no. We're guessing. What if we passed through the wall of the black hole and we had the realization of the allness of everything? And we became the allness of everything.
So mind can travel, right? The brain, mind is.
Yeah, our brain is very small. It's a creation. It's a little computer chip, right? It's so small because when we do meditation, prayer meditation, we go beyond the mind to places that the mind cannot comprehend, because this is too dense, it's too childish, it's too immature. But the soul remembers, like, okay, hey kid, just sit there for a few minutes, I gotta go do some work, right? And then the soul goes beyond, and then our consciousness goes beyond, and it brings back beauty. And then we're like, oh, I feel better now, because we're connected to the greater hologramic story of the truth of our being, of the way there is beauty and perfection in the nothingness of everything.
So pod contains the whole part of it. The brain may act like a hologram. So that is one of the things, a lot of some of the scientific speculative theories, but they're very good theories, some of them are. So the second part is how the quantum computers came in the picture. Quantum computers, quantum information is actually they is encoding all the information. Quantum entanglement is encoding the information through holographic system. So the error corrections, for example, if I send a message to you, there is a lot of error codes there, error corrections. They do that in these computer chips. They do a lot of error corrections and codes. But in the new idea of the quantum computers, error code is holographic codes, holograph error correction codes, they call. Very strange as it is, they took the black hole of entropy, entropy of the black hole, the surface of the black hole, and the quantum computers, the information storage coming in the computers and the brain, they're all connected through holographic information. That is amazing to me. Even the thought itself, that is absolutely, it is a metaphorical, maybe it is, but science is coming close to that. It is a very interesting concept in my view. That is what I thought when I was 10 years old or 15 years old. That is coming to something that is even thinking in the sciences, in the science arena. It's unbelievable. That is what fascinated me. Science is thinking about it. That is really fascinating. So I think we need to understand a little bit beyond these concepts, holographic principles is something is saying about Maya. So let us talk about Maya and that how our souls can interact with it. You tell me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when we talk about the I lost my thought. I was going to say something there. Okay. In the hologram world, there's a oneness, right? The
Yeah.
one cell is the reflection of the entire thing. That is a spiritual principle right there.
Yes.
Across the religions, on the higher teachings, right? And the esoteric teachings of each religion, the ones that they just say, okay, only these smart guys can talk about this one. Each of them are talking about oneness. And hologram is talking about oneness. So when we start like I said, my theory of you go inside the black hole and now you understand the oneness of everything. So if we can move towards oneness, oh, look, my brother has a different color skin than I do. Okay, that's all right. Let me see, what's the same about us?
Yeah.
What if we started asking that question instead of what's different about us? Or what can I trust about this person? Because if my little small pea brain is worried and feeling mistrusting, then my consciousness can ask my brain, oh, what can I trust about my brother instead? So the Maya is the illusion, the wall of illusion. And what's illusion? Stuff that's made up.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what? I was taught bias. Somebody made that up and taught it to me. So then I can ask in my contemplation of who am I and why am I here, right? The question of all questions. I can ask, what is illusion? What is illusion? And then if you go into the quantum world, everything is illusion. Because
Correct.
anything that I think is firm is not firm, it's just a concentrated particle. And we all call it like, oh, this is a lamp and this is a phone and this is a glass.
Yeah.
This is all of it is made up. So my question when I do work is, what is permanent? So of course the reference is the 3D world. But then if they're like, now you're starting to ask questions that are moving us to the eternal.
Yeah. So that acupuncture, they use the practice in Chinese acupuncture. Actually, some people told me they think as every aspect, every pin they put it there is there, the entire body, the energy flow of the body. That's a it every point in the body is connected with the entire body. That's
Right.
the one of the principles of the acupuncture, they said. I was surprised about that. So pranic healing is very close to that idea, right? That energy flow of the vital energy of the flow. That is the what we are thinking is that every part, the energy flow, vital energy is all over, dissipated everywhere. We in physics we think the holographic principle, all the information is dissipated, everything is all over the place, all the information that is can contain. So what do you think of, we humans, we are going through a crisis. People are not understanding it, how serious this crisis is. It's just a one area. For example, I want to be critic of the IT companies a little bit. So what they did was they thought IT, information technology is independent of humans. They're not part of the equation. So we follow science. The science without a humans, it doesn't make any sense. We invented science. We came up with the science. We need, humans need that conscious approach to the science or medicine or technology. Otherwise, it doesn't. Prosperity with the Martin Luther King said that uh, prosperity without soul is a poverty.
Yeah.
That that is a one thing that. What do you think? How we can get out of this greed and power and these corporations that unbelievable control on humans? It is just unfathomable to me that their control right now. All small companies are dead. Big companies, or 4 or 5 companies, are controlling everybody. How do we survive in this
It
human?
it 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 is catastrophic to the human condition. The AI that's going on is, even Elon Musk, who's a part of the creator of that world, is afraid of the future of AI. Right? All the sci-fi movies, right? The terrible filming, the 1950s and all of that. They've been fearful, saying, look, we're going to turn these computers into monsters and they're going to turn against us.
Let me show you a little bit about that. So I'm going to do this a little bit quickly and one for a few minutes. Both of us can watch. Um, so in the quantum physics, is observer and observer are two different things. But observer could be observer eventually. So observer creates the reality. That's what the one of the quantum physics interpretation is. Observer creates reality. There's no reality existence previous before you observe it, because it came from the double slit experiment in the quantum physics. That is one of the interpretations of the observer and observer. Is a biggest problem, is a measurement problem. We don't understand, is beyond the spiritual. It is going to the realm of spirituality there. But the brain is a conscious observer. So David Baum wrote, there is Ursula is talking about all oneness. David Baum says that everything is oneness. Actually, we think we are all different because thought is creating, impure thought comes out of us and creating we are all different. That is what Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti was one of the philosophers from my area, from my home, my state of Andhra Pradesh. He was from, and he was in Ohio, not Ohio, Vajai, California. He put an ashram there, J. Krishnamurti Ashram. He put a lot of schools there. He is one of the proponents of that. They're friends. David Baum and Krishnamurti. There are a lot of talks in between them in the YouTube. You should watch it. It's a really fascinating talk between the observer and observed, and what is that means, and implicate order. And he's talking about a quantum physicist and a philosopher. Actually, can start with the Helena Blavatsky is the Russian woman. She is a global wanderer. She came from. She was traveling all over the world, and she said that very interesting thing about the time. Time is is past and present or illusions. She said that long before Einstein saying about it in 1800s, and then Jiddu Krishnamurti. She actually did. She started a um, in Adayar in Chennai. She started a ashram. She came to the United States. They were taken her. They were kicked her out. They said that all the religions are all, that is a man-made. They were all one and the same. They didn't like it. They kicked her out, and then she moved to England, and then she moved to India, and then she started a ashram called Adayar. Then in the ashram, Annie Besant is one of the Irish Catholic woman. She became a head of the. Actually, she became a head of the Indian Congress one time. It's surprising, as a foreigner. So she died, and then Jiddu Krishnamurti became a head of the Theosophical Society. That became eventually Theosophical Society. They have a lot of real estate. They have a lot of temples. They have a lot of money. So that's one of the powerful things that came out. But anyway, observer creates reality. Something, the same picture, you can say Monet, or you can say Rembrandt. So they're all look, it's all in the creation of the people who are watching it. So they look at the same image in different. So thought creates matter is one of the Amita Goswami is that one of the things is consciousness creates all the matter. Is not the universe created a matter, the solar system, planets create life, life creates us. He says that no, it's actually mind create all of these things in the reverse process. That's what the physicist Amita Goswami's contention was. So the another thought consciousness approach came from Roger Penrose, Sir Roger Penrose, and Stuart Hameroff is an anesthesiologist. They think that we have a quantum behavior. We can tune with the universe, with all the frequencies. And then they came back with the brain exhibits a quantum phenomena. How they some of the scientists did not like it at all because of the conditions that the brain is in, is the wet and the hot temperatures, because quantum phenomena happens in the lower temperatures. So but there is a nature way found a way to trick and then exhibit the quantum behavior in the microtubules they talked about. And then Anirban Bandyopadhyay, a friend of mine, actually proved experimentally that these microtubules can exhibit the quantum phenomena and connect the entire universe. So it's a very interesting thoughts and very interesting theories are coming out. Body and mind. She's talking about a radio. Body is a brain is basically a radio, and then music is the mind is coming to us. Brain is interpreting the consciousness, not a brain creating. Some people believe brain is not creating the consciousness. The brain is like a radio. Consciousness is there in the is all pervading
Streaming,
everywhere.
sure.
Yeah,
But if it's all one, why are we dividing, right? So we
sure.
divide to understand. Okay? So if someone's like, "Oh, why do we have this problem?" They take away the parts, right? And they start looking at all the parts of the problem to understand the problem. That's one of the things, right? Like, why does all of this exist anyway? Is, to me, I think we're on an evolutionary experience to develop and to know ourselves, right? Because God isn't a person. So if you put something, if you begin something, if you're a child and you take a ball and you start it rolling, you want to experience that rolling, not for pleasure but for understanding. So how can I play with this ball? Oh, I see it's rolling. So for me, this is an experience, an experiment, and to see how and what is the biggest challenge of this earthly experience is making the right choice.
No, I wanted to make a point, very good point you made. You said that why in science there is interesting concept there. Why we feel we are all separate. There are two people proposed theories. It's one of the David Bohm's theory was actually we are all like a sea. The spirals that you see, they're all different. We think different. There's a part of the sea. So the stars, the planets and galaxies are all spirals in the ocean. We're all one and the same. The Atma, Paramatma, there's all in Hindu philosophy, they're all one and the same. Atma, Paramatma, it embodies the Paramatma, it combines with So we all think the spirals, we think separate. They're not separate, just temporary evolutionary process, as you mentioned. that is evolution in the that is making us think separate these swirls that comes out of the ocean in the ocean, but there is still part is the water. There's a part of the ocean. This
One of the favorite metaphysical quotes that help everybody understand is, "I am not a drop in the ocean. I am the ocean in a drop."
Yeah, correct. Yeah, this is exactly that's what actually another Bernardo Kastrup, another philosopher and a computer scientist, he proposes that we all think we are separate because it's a disease. Is say dissociated. I say identity disorder is a mental disease. He says
That's what I'm
it's a
saying.
mental health
Darkness.
problem. We all think we're all
Yeah,
separate from each
yeah.
other.
Darkness says divide and conquer. Right?
Yeah,
So if you want to, like, let me understand what's going on, like, everything seems insanity. We this again, this earthly experience, the one of the platforms of reference, because it's always references, right? So if we're like good and bad, evil and power over, and my skin and your skin and all of that stuff, those are all references. So when we are having this conversation, hey, let's go from a reference of oneness rather than the reference of separation. Then we can also understand in the duality experience that we're having as human beings, how does darkness behave and how does light behave inside of me? In the Native American tradition, they have the story of the two wolves on the shoulders. And back when I was a kid, they had cartoons. The devil's on this shoulder and the angels on this shoulder, and they're talking and think this and do this, right? And we're like, oh, to me, really, how can we move past the paradigm, the illusion that we're all living in, our historic references that keep recreating themselves every day? Because everything is changing so quickly, right? Biology, thought patterns, all that. Why couldn't we wake up every day a brand new person with a brand new reality and brand new choices to make? We can. All we have to do is change our perception of our power to make better choices.
yeah. Is always what is I put my website character wrong, braincafes.com actually. Tell me what is your website, Ursula? Anybody want to reach you? UrsulaLentini.com, right?
Yeah, I keep it very simple. You just look my first and last name. That's my social media, all of that. I have a wonderful newsletter. If anybody wants to say, give me your newsletter, it's on my website. You can sign up for it. I teach pranic healing twice a year. I offer individual sessions. We go into the subconscious where the quantum's, access is, and we heal out legacy burdens, personal traumas. With When I'm with children, we can talk to their future selves. Like, anything is possible in the realm of the subconscious, which is basically another word for the quantum realities. We pass through fourth dimension and we're working in the fifth dimension.
So Ursula, thank you so much. I know you for a long time. We are friends for a long, long, long time, and it is a truly an honor and a privilege to talk with you. It is a very informative, and it is a thing that we need to explore. That different way of thinking life, and it gives ideas to even scientific people. What you say is maybe it gives some ideas for even people who think in scientific terms. Is all it is all possibilities exist, like a multiverse, and your possibilities and your ideas are very interesting and very definitely is worth following. And we need the spiritual awareness and then consciousness. Thank you so much, Ursula. Thank you for
Ramona, I
joining.
love you very much. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. You're making people think. And then some of the emotional states, right? Depression and anxiety. If we're just more thoughtful about what's going on in the world, we can calm down, and from a calmer place we can make better decisions. So I think when you're explaining things that are very logical, practical, and useful, that in a way this is your ministry, right? You're helping other people through understanding. So I really appreciate the work you're doing and the show you're putting on and the way you show up in the world.
Thank you. That is thank you. That's Ursula Lentini, ursulalentini.com. You can reach her. Thank you all. Good night and good night.
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it.